It's a question that can be just baffling. Why on earth would someone keep talking to a scammer, especially when they know it's a lie? But here's the thing. This isn't about being smart or not. It's all about psychology. So today, we're going to dive into the powerful and really, really human reasons this happens.
And this quote, wow, it just gets right to the heart of it all. It introduces us to this person, Sarah, a retired professor with a PhD, okay? She is not gullible, she's not unintelligent, she's just profoundly lonely. And her story, it really frames the central human question we're going to explore here.
So Sarah is part of this group of people who, even after they've seen definitive proof that it's a scam, they choose to keep talking. And it is so important to understand this isn't about a lack of intelligence. Not at all. It's about a deep human need for connection that, just for a little while, totally outweighs logic. Okay, to really get this, we have to look past the scammer for a second and focus on the root cause. Because the real villain in this story, it's not some person behind a keyboard. It's the crushing weight of isolation. Scammers don't create this vulnerability. They are just experts at exploiting the one that's already there. Just think about this number for a second. 1 in 10 U.S. adults. That means 1 in 10 people you might know say they have no close friends or family to turn to for help. This isn't some small problem affecting just a few people. No way. It's a widespread loneliness epidemic. And it creates the absolute perfect breeding ground for scammers to thrive. You see, big life changes, like these ones here, they can leave this profound void. And it's not just about missing people, It's about losing that daily rhythm of companionship, the simple good morning texts, the how was your day questions. Well, scammers are absolute masters at filling that exact space. They provide this constant stream of attention that, let's be honest, family and friends with their own busy lives often just can't match. And this right here is the shift in perspective we absolutely need. When we stop asking, how could they be so stupid, and start asking, what has happened in their life that talking to a scammer feels better than the alternative? Well, that's when we move from accusation to compassion. Because for so many, the alternative is just silence, the feeling of being completely and utterly alone. So if logic isn't in the driver's seat, then what is, right? The answer is pretty fascinating. It's in the science of why this connection feels so incredibly real, even when the mind knows it's not. It turns out our own brain chemistry can be a really powerful accomplice.
In this slide, it just perfectly captures that internal battle. It's something called cognitive dissonance, basically holding two totally conflicting beliefs at the exact same time. The logical brain is screaming, I know this person isn't real, but the emotional brain, it's getting something it desperately needs.
And here's the kicker. Here's why that feeling is so powerful. When the scammer sends a message like, good morning, beautiful, the brain gets this flood of dopamine and oxytocin. And get this, these are the exact same chemicals you get in a real, genuine relationship. Your brain doesn't care if the source is fake. The chemical reward is biologically real, which makes that emotional bond feel incredibly authentic.
Okay, so we've kind of established the why behind all this, but now we have to pivot to the unavoidable dangers. Because even if someone thinks they're totally in control, I'm not sending any money yet, maintaining contact comes with some serious, hidden costs.
This timeline is brilliant because it shows you the scammer's long game. They are incredibly patient. We're talking months building up that emotional trust and dependency. So by the time that first request for money finally comes, the victim isn't just sending cash to some stranger. In their mind, they feel like they're helping a loved one in a crisis, which makes it almost impossible to say no. And it goes way beyond just the financial risk. Just think about all the data being shared in these day-to-day conversations. Every little detail about your routine, your finances, your family, your deepest vulnerabilities, it's all a piece of a puzzle. And that information, it can be sold or used for identity theft, making you a target for all sorts of other criminals down the line.
But honestly, this might be the most tragic cost of all. Our emotional energy is a finite resource, right? And this fake relationship just consumes so much time and focus. It isolates the person and acts as this huge barrier to seeking out the genuine, healthy connections that could actually solve the real problem, which is the loneliness.
All right, so what if you're a family member watching this happen to someone you love? How do you even begin to intervene without making things worse? This next part is a practical guide for having a conversation that actually helps. And this is rule number 1. The absolute first thing to know.
any language that involves shame or judgment or accusation, it will immediately backfire. It just creates defensiveness, it breaks trust, and it will probably push your loved one further into the arms of the one person who isn't judging them, the scammer.
So instead of that, you start with validation. You acknowledge the feeling they're chasing. When you say something like, I can see this person makes you feel less lonely. I get that need. You prove you're an ally. That simple act of empathy can open the door to a real, productive, and non-confrontational conversation.
And all of this builds into a really clear plan. Look, this isn't about one big dramatic intervention. It's about a series of loving, consistent conversations. And the most critical step here is number 5, follow up. The scammer offers attention every single day. To compete with that, real connection has to be just as consistent and just as reliable.
Okay, now I want to shift focus a little and speak directly to you if you're the person who might be in this situation. You know it's a scam, but you haven't stopped. There is a path away from this fantasy. There is a path towards something authentic and truly fulfilling.
I want you to take a real moment with these questions. Be brutally honest with yourself. Answering them can help you start to confront the reality of what's happening. And that last question, wow, that one is especially powerful. We so often demand a higher standard for the people we love than we do for ourselves. But you deserve that same standard. You really do.
The good news here is that you are not alone, and there are real, actual options out there. I mean, this isn't an exhaustive list or anything, but it shows that there are safe, healthy, and totally legitimate ways to find the connection you're looking for.
And look, this is the trade-off, right? A scammer offers instant gratification. It's a fantasy delivered on demand. But building genuine relationships, that's slower. It takes effort. It takes vulnerability. But the reward is something sustainable and true, something that adds real value to your life instead of just masking the pain for a little while.
So ultimately, it all comes down to this one question. The scammer's attention is temporary. It's transactional. They will disappear, either when the money stops or a better target comes along. That's a guarantee. The only question is, what will you have built in the meantime? The power to choose a foundation of real connection, that is entirely in your hands.
Your smile lit up like a sunrise glow.